Hello and welcome back to Everything Tumbler Tutorials. You'll notice that I've already spray painted my tumbler. It's an ombre, not the best ombre, but it doesn't really matter because you're not going to see it anyways. I will have the name of these Rustoleum Paints down for you in the description below. I only did the ombre basically so I know where I'm going to have my dark colors versus my white colors and or light colors. I will also have all of these paints listed down in the description for you below. When doing the coffee swirls, sometimes it does work best when you have a dark, medium, and a light color. So now that I've already gotten my epoxy mix, which by the way, I am using the artist resin. So this is going to be a cure time of at least 8 hours. I've already gotten my 4 measuring cups mixed with my dark, my medium, my light, and my white paint. But first things first, I'm going to go ahead and slap on this epoxy. I don't want this too thick, but I also don't want it too thin. I want the epoxy mixed with my paints to really be able to move fluently through the tumbler. Or in this case, my coffee cup. So now that we've gotten the epoxy applied to the tumbler, I'm going to go ahead and use my heat torch not only to pop those bubbles, but also to kind of heat up the epoxy a little bit. I will not be using a heat gun at all during this process. I will only use my torch. So now I'm going to go ahead and start with my dark paint, and I'm going to work backwards, if you will. So I'm going to do the dark, the medium, the light, and then I will add in the white. When applying the drizzles, yes, I'm incorporating the handle because this cup is going to be for me. However, if you do not want to incorporate the handle, make sure you tape it off before you get to this step. So when I'm applying my drizzle, there's really no rhyme or reason, although I am trying to keep most of the dark colors towards the bottom of the tumbler, giving a little hint of the dark up at the top. So now that I'm getting pretty close to where I want to be, I'm going to go ahead and use the heat torch just to warm things up and get this moving. Now that I'm pretty much feeling this tumbler, I'm going to go ahead and take it off the turner, shake it up back and forth, kind of getting those swirls to move naturally on their own by doing an upward and downward motion. But I'm doing this, but not so much as that my epoxy is dripping off the tumbler. You want to try to prevent that as much as possible because we don't want a huge heavy flow in one direction or the other. I do this a couple of times, not only through the video, but off camera as well, just to make sure that I'm pretty satisfied with the way things are going. As I'm getting closer to getting the appearance that I'm looking for, I decided I was going to go back in with a little more white and a little more of the lightest color that I had down here at the bottom, because I really loved the effect that was occurring up at the top. But I also didn't want that to run down too much here at the bottom. So as I put this back on the turner, I want to point out that I eventually do leave this alone. I heat it up just a little bit. As it spins for quite some time, there's going to be a lot of changes that are happening. So we're just going to let the turner do the work for us. This resin is about 6 to 8 hours cure time. So I leave this tumbler left alone, spinning on the turner overnight. Once fully cured, we're now ready to go ahead and take a look. So I'm giving you an entirely different angle using my cell phone. So I wanted to point out some towards the bottom ends mostly, and you can see where there's dimples within the epoxy. At this point, I am not concerned and I have no intentions of sanding this tumbler. I'm going to go ahead and apply my decal because where I'm going to place it, there's no dimples. Once I apply another coat of epoxy onto this tumbler, those dimples are pretty much going to fill in. So the reason why I wanted to use my camera and really get you this angle is because a lot of the times when I'm putting on decals at this angle, you're really getting more or less of a bird's eye view instead of a straightforward view. I also show you in very real time how I manipulated this decal to fit on this coffee cup, as everybody does have a tendency to struggle because of the curvedness of the tumbler. I believe this decal is about 2.5 inches. Had I made this smaller, this would not have been an issue at all. For beginners, I highly recommend that you do make the decal a little bit smaller, and then you're not having to fight it to get it onto the tumbler without the wrinkles. So you can find this decal right in Design Space, and the offset is already done for you. I chose to use the holographic emerald green from Craft Vinyl as my offset, and I just chose a regular white to lay over top. Thank you, Craft Vinyl, for all these beautiful holographics that you sent me. And if you guys are interested in some holographic vinyls, be sure to check out their website. And don't forget to use my coupon code when you check out. I really hope that you are enjoying this video so far. And if so, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials coming soon. Also, don't forget to click the bell to get notifications for every time I launch a new video. And if you're interested, please click that join button after you've watched this video. See what perks work best for you when you join my new membership program right here on YouTube. So now that our decal is applied, our tumbler is now ready for epoxy and does not need to be sealed. For this coat of epoxy, I am going to be using the Fast Set from Counterculture DIY. And as with all coats of epoxy, make sure you use your heat torch to pop any bubbles that you may or may not be able to see. I want to thank you so much for watching, and be sure to find me on TikTok under Rebecca Escott, Facebook at Everything Tumbler Tutorials for continued learning. Remember, all the links will be in the description for you below.